Hello, Leo. Great to have you here. My name is Shona. Today's reading is a general love forecast for November 2025. As always, take the messages that resonate and release anything that doesn't. Don't forget to like, and subscribe to stay connected with upcoming readings. Let's see what's headed your way, Leo. Before I start going into this reading, I just want to preface this. I believe this is about love and relationship. Okay, so it doesn't seem like there is there are indicators that it could be, work and finance and things like that. So I'm just going to read what I see. However, the energy as well can be vice versa. So if you're dealing with someone versus, cross watchers, if you're dealing with a Leo, I hope this reading resonates with you, and I hope that whatever messages, advice, guidance. So, thank you for joining me. First of all, I feel like the title of this reading is going to be like more than meets the eye. So, when I was shuffling out the spread, I saw a woman, and this looks like, 1800s in the Wild West. At a saloon. Okay, so a saloon, a bar, and there are cowboys. There are also wenches in the bar. So I see this woman. She's she's got like black hair. She has darker skin. She looks very exotic, possibly like Native American and something else. She looks really exotic, and she has like dark hair, curly dark hair, and she's wearing those outfits with the corset and the big poofy, skirt. And so, like, she just looks like she doesn't belong there. She looks like she might be, I don't know, somebody that, like an escort. Okay, that's a nice way of saying it. She looks like she might be an escort or a prostitute or whatever you want to call it. And so I see as well, she's like she's at the bar waiting for, a client or a customer or whatever you have, what have you. And then these three really rough looking men, they come into the bar and they lay their eyes on her, right? And she's there by herself and she's just very dainty, very delicate, very pretty. And so they come over and harass her. And she kind of sees them coming. She doesn't really flinch. They talk to her and they try to grab her by the wrist. And at this time, under her hoops dress, she pulls out a tiny little gun and then she shoots them. So that's what I saw, and it was really interesting because the scene doesn't really show me like any type of blood, or it doesn't show me like, whether or not they're still alive. But either way, I feel like they came in expecting something, and it's like they messed with the wrong person. That's what it feels like to me. Okay. And the reason why I feel like this might be a relationship reading is I feel that, there's judgment cast here. And I feel like somebody made a bad judgment call. Okay, somebody thought that it was going to be an easy takeover. Somebody thought that, oh, I've got this in the bag. And then little did they know that the situation turned around and it was not in their favor. I feel like somebody misjudged a situation. Somebody misjudged another person. Somebody thought that it's just like a wrong assessment. Okay, it's like underestimating somebody or making a wrong judgment call about another person. All right, so that's pretty much the theme of what I was picking up. And then I also felt like it was very much relationship oriented because of the cards that have fallen out. So let me talk a little bit about these two cards prominently. We want to just get them out of the way and see what messages come out for them. That way we can clear them up and then we can kind of like make room for more things. So when I was shuffling out the cards, I feel like the reading is split this way. Okay? This is in the past. This is where you are right now. And this is what's in store for you in the future. That's what it feels like to me. And so let me talk about this. I have here the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords indicates, not in this deck though, it basically indicates a separation from another person. Okay? A separation from another person. And once again, likely the partner is on the other side. I feel like there has been a separation between you and another person. And I almost feel like between you and another person, you might have been waiting for their return. They might have been waiting for your return. So I feel like it was a situation where there was a falling out, and it happened so fast, and it's like turning on a dime, okay? Like that, those rough guys in the saloon, they grabbed this woman by the wrist, and she wasn't having it. And little did they know, it's like she wasn't playing around, you know? And so I feel like it's a situation where if it was like an argument, if it was a fight, if it was a falling out, it escalated very, very, very quickly. And I feel that it happened so fast that neither of you were aware of what was happening. Okay? And I feel that it just happened so fast. And before you know it, the situation was like full blown, I guess, conflict. And then I also feel like now that, you and the other person have had time to cool down, both parties have not been in communication. And both parties were kind of like, now that you're away from it, now that you're calmer, now that the adrenaline is not racing, and now that you have a little bit of distance and perspective, both of you are wondering, like, what exactly happened? How did things escalate so fast? How did, what started out supposedly, like what started out as a joke? How did it get out of control? Like, how did the situation go haywire? And I feel that you think they owe you an apology, okay? And I feel that you're scanning the horizon, trying to figure out, trying to see what they're doing, trying to see if they're coming back, trying to figure out what they're up to, trying to figure out where they are, and trying to also figure out, what you should do about the situation. So I feel like physically you might not be in contact with this person. Once again, the Three of Swords, it indicates like physical distance, emotional distance, a rift, a falling out, a situation that was quite painful. And I feel like for some of you, you're waiting for them to return. For others of you, I feel like this could also be like a long distance relationship where you're waiting for somebody to come into the picture. So I have here the Three of Wands, and this is your energy, this giraffe here. In the traditional Rider-Waite deck, it's the man on the hill. He's got like he's got like two wands behind him, I feel, and then there's one wand that he's holding on his right hand, and it's a depiction of your ships are coming in, right? So the stereotypical interpretation of that is waiting for your ships to come in, waiting for something to come into the picture, waiting for the payout, waiting for this moment where there's contact, there's communication, and for the arrival of another person. But what has happened here is we have the journey, okay? This is the Six of Swords. This is sailing to a safer place. And there is, I love the way this is depicted because there's so much serenity associated with it, okay? The blue color, the dragonfly, the calmness, the stillness, the serenity. And so I feel like you took a giant leap away from this situation. There might have been months or weeks or a lot of time that have elapsed between the last time you interacted with this person. I feel like they're trying to figure out like what you're up to. What are you doing? Where are you right now? Who are you with? Are you going to apologize? What should they say to you? I feel those things. I feel those emotions coming in for them from their end. They're showing up here as the High Priestess. And I have here intuition and sacred knowledge. Okay? So I feel like there's still a very strong emotional connection between the two of you. And I feel like they're wondering, what you're up to. So I feel like there was a situation here that happened really, really fast. And before you know it, it was like full blown conflict. And I I feel a lot of it might have been ideological differences. Okay, differences over upbringing, differences over belief system, differences over, I feel for some of you, political affiliation. Um, I'm also, it's a hot, contentious topic here in the United States, but I do feel the words are coming out. Political affiliation, political alignment, even like, religion. I feel like it's, these are really important topics. And I feel that the way that you both had this conversation, or whenever this conversation came out, it started out very, very quickly, and then because of your ideological, like deeply ingrained ideological differences, I feel that it turned into conflict and you could not see eye to eye. And a lot of the times, okay, being a fixed sign as yourself, you might be dealing with another fixed sign. So fixed signs are Leo, Scorpio, Taurus, and Aquarius. A lot of the times with fixed signs, we strongly identify very strongly with our belief system. And we often feel that if someone disagrees with our beliefs, they disagree with us as a human being. And we also feel like because we identify so strongly with our belief system, our beliefs are an extension of ourselves. So if someone disagrees, it means they're not accepting us as a person. And so we can't help but, have this visceral, like gut wrenching reaction whenever somebody disagrees with us. And I feel like that might be what happened here. It's like you're not backing down, they're not backing down. And at the end of the day, it created this rift between the two of you. And I feel that you're still looking at each other. I feel that you're wondering, did they move away? Have they gotten over me? Are they gone for good? Are they going to be coming back? Are they going to apologize? And I feel like innately there wasn't a lot of compatibility between the two of you. But we don't have to be compatible with another person in order to be with them or in order to love them. What I feel here is with this Three of Swords, look at that moth, okay? It's like a moth being drawn to the flame, okay? It's in their DNA. It's what they're designed or bred to do, okay? Drawn to the shiny objects. So I feel like the person that you're dealing with might be the moth, and as a fire sign, of course, you are the flame. So it's sort of like they're very, very drawn to you because of how different you guys are. And then I also feel like their admiration of you really feeds your ego. You like the way they looked at you. You like to be seen with this person. You like it's like when you're with them, you feel a lot more confident. You feel a lot more complete. You feel a lot more appreciated and things like that. So I feel like it's potentially, like at its best, it's a very uplifting type of a relationship. At its worst, there are a lot of ideological differences, down to the way that, you make the bed, down to the way that you do your laundry. So I feel like, one person's always on time, the other person's always late. Like it narrows down to all of these key things that are required when two people, have to share space, have to be in a relationship, have to work alongside each other. And I feel that it has been very difficult. Once again, let me explain this giraffe imagery. I didn't finish it earlier, but I did explain this to the previous sign, which is Cancer. So, it's the man waiting for his shit to come in, waiting for something to come into the picture, right? Waiting. And look at the giraffe. They have a really long neck, right? It basically allows them to look further and see things at a distance where other land animals cannot. Okay, So I feel like you have the gift of foresight. You have the gift of long-term planning. You're not impulsive like the other fire signs. Aries and Sagittarius are extremely impulsive. Um, you don't have that impulsiveness that they have, which, often get them in trouble. And I also feel like you plan things out, and methodically you do things, plan things out, and you kind of like play it out in your mind before you rush into something. And then I also feel like the other person, they might take a different approach. They might have been like, let's jump in first and then ask questions later. I feel like the other person also, they pride themselves on their intelligence. Okay. When they believe something and you attack their beliefs, they see it as an attack on their intelligence. When they choose a course of action, I feel like they are very adamant about, sticking to it. And then when you poke holes in their theories, or if you tell them, oh, here is a potential pitfall, I feel like rather than accepting that as, oh, warnings, I feel like they take offense. And then I also feel like they think that you're undermining their intelligence. So I feel like there are a lot of ego conflict here in this situation. But I feel like, with this giraffe imagery, I feel that you have the gift of insight and foresight. And as a result of that, I'm sensing that you're scanning the horizon and you're looking to see where this person is and whether or not they're coming back. And I feel that one of the main things that you have been thinking about is, did they move away from me? Have they forgotten me? Did they leave me behind? And then I also feel like maybe there has been a lot of, breakups and makeup and breakups and makeups and just this cyclical pattern. You're wondering as well, oh, they'll be back. They'll be back. Maybe one day they'll come back. And so I don't feel like it's over. Okay. So this happened in the past. Let's talk about the present situation. There is a diminishing here in the rift, the distance, the conflict. So I feel like this person is definitely, and thank God it's de-escalating. And then the Nine of Swords. And both of these cards are not, pretty cards to get. But I feel like there's a situation that is getting better and better with time. Okay. I just want to say, Leos, and you know where you stand in this, or you could be cross-watching for a Leo person, and wherever you're coming from, I would say if you feel like this resonates with you, one of the easiest segue into to communicating again with that person, or to break the ice with the other person, is simply, send a text message or an email or whatever, however you communicate, and just tell the other person, just because I disagree with you, it doesn't mean I'm attacking you. So I please don't take it personally. Or, even saying like, I know we don't agree on a lot of things, but we can't let a disagreement, an ideological disagreement, get in the way of our friendship, get in the way of our relationship. Whatever it is, I feel like that would go a long way to kind of like bridge the distance, mend that rift, and break the ice between you and the other person. Okay, so I hope that's helpful for somebody out there. So there is a de-escalation here of conflict. The emotional rift is being bridged between you and the person, okay? You're still very much on guard about each other. So we have here Ten of Swords. This is a snake, right? And snakes, they're very good about self-preservation, right? And they scan their environment. They have very good situational awareness. They also have very, very good senses. And then I also feel like, if they feel threatened, they can very quietly slither away. Okay. And then also the other person we have here, the Nine of Swords. This is a porcupine with quills, with things that, um, with things that they have covering them, around them, for self-defense. Okay, so I feel like both parties are still very much like on the defense about one another. And then if you're like that beautiful woman in the saloon, and some rough people are coming at you, or even if somebody has treated you wrong and now they're coming back at you, I feel that you have your weapons, you have your method of self-protection. Okay, so I do feel like when this conversation happens, it's going to require both parties to be kind of like upfront and honest and not aggressive. Okay, so aim to be as like non-threatening, non-aggressive as best as you can. And I feel like, once again, it takes two to tangle. And so if the other person is coming at you aggressively, and especially grabbing you, touching you, and trying to have their way with you, I do feel that you're going to give them a piece of your mind, and you're not going to let that situation slide. Okay, and then I also feel like with the other person too, if you come at them very aggressively, I feel like they're going to match the aggression, and so there's potential here to de-escalate. So in this connection, both parties need to kind of like act from their higher vantage point, or from that, from their higher self, and come into this very calm, very collected, and just talk rather than letting hands and things like that, body language and whatever, do the talking. So I feel like it's a very fragile situation, and it needs to be handled with care, and it needs to be handled with kitty gloves, and it needs to be handled in a very delicate way. Okay, so that means soft voices, soft body language, um, and a lot of the times, as a fiery, passionate sign, we pour our entire being into the things that we do, the things that we say, the things that we believe in. And at a drop of a hat, we can explode, and we can, get very defensive, and we can also lash out. And once again, I feel like you're dealing with another person who is just as passionate, who is just as opinionated, who is just as stubborn, who is just as prideful. And so we can't, fight fire with fire here. Okay? And once again, I'm not saying that, you have to make up with this person. But I feel that you're wondering what they're up to, and I feel that you're thinking. And then I just feel like maybe coming back to this person right now might not be the best option, because you're still very hot-headed. You're still, you still have a lot of adrenaline in your veins. But I do feel that you're wondering what they're up to. Okay? So this is like the outcome here, the last 4 cards. I feel that there's a situation swooping in. Okay, so for some of you, we have here the Ace of Wands. So this is like really, really strong passion. Something that is really giving you, it's stirring you from the inside. It's making you feel alive again. It's making you feel the passion, the raw excitement. So this is something that is very much like, it's understandable, and it's something that is a lot more in alignment with you. So I feel like, this person really stirs up, you have like such a gut reaction to them. the way that they are, the things that they do. For some of you, it could be like someone who's your opposite, like an Aquarius, for example. For others of you, it could be another fixed sign, just somebody who is quite stubborn, okay? And then for others of you, I do feel like this might be, like a long-term relationship partner. You might be married to them. You might have a relationship with them. And I say that because we have here the Four of Wands. And then the Shaman, which is like the Hierophant. So I feel like this is definitely a relationship here. Or like a situation where you're living together, hence you're interacting on such a regular basis. And then I feel like, the passion is really strong, but so is the dissonance between the two of you. There's great passion, there's great chemistry, there's also great lack of compatibility. And so this relationship requires a lot more work, okay? It requires a lot more vulnerability, I would say. Vulnerability is how we are able to counteract the ego, the amped up ego energy displayed in the spread. So I feel like that's what's happening. Somebody is very hard-headed, and then the other person is like, it's a turn on, but also it's a turn off. It's a turn on when it's about mutual things, like things that you both are passionate about. But it's also a turn off when you're trying to work together as a unit and you can't agree on things. And it's especially a turn off if one person takes offense that the other person doesn't do what they're asked or doesn't do what they're advised to do, doesn't take advice or doesn't heed advice. And so I feel like if it's a long-standing relationship, couples therapy might be very beneficial for the two of you, because I feel like and I don't want to downplay this, but from an outsider's perspective, looking in, we can see what's wrong with the relationship, whereas the people who are in the relationship, it's harder for them to see because they're looking at things a little bit, more subjectively. And so I feel like, like couples counseling, couples therapy would be able to flip the script a little bit to allow you to put yourselves in their shoes and to allow them to put themselves in your shoes, to know where you're coming from, to know where they're coming from, and to have like a different perspective when you're dealing with each other. That way, it's kind of like that light bulb moment where the two of you start to see eye to eye. It's like role reversal, Step into each other's shoes for a day and see what it's like on the other side. And so I feel like couples therapy, I even feel like, just having a very real talk with one another, drop the ego and drop the act. And it's going to be very enlightening, okay? There is a lot of passion here. I feel like it's lacking in love, but it doesn't mean that it's not there or it can't be built or it can't be established. I just feel like there's a lot of raw energy, like passion and chemistry. So the connection is very dynamic. And no wonder you're so drawn to this person, and no wonder this person is so drawn to you. Because like it feels to me like pure adrenaline. And I feel very strongly for some of you, you might be dealing with an air sign. So like an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra. And what I'm seeing here is this. The Hierophant and the Eight of Wands. Okay? Eight of Acorns, Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands is communication, contact. And the ego is swooping in. So this means there's going to be communication. It's going to be happening very, very fast. I feel like they're going to, like this, timidly ask you about something. Do Do you miss me? Do you want to see me? Can I still see you? And then I feel like you're upset, and I feel that you're going to, tell them something that will kind of like make them take a step back. So you meant it one way, but I feel like it's going to come out a different way. And then they feel a little bit hurt, or they feel overlooked, or they feel dismissed. And so I feel like they're going to slither away. So there's like opportunities here for reconciliation and, communication, really opening up that channel of communication. But I'm sensing that they're testing the waters. They're very shy, and they're going to reach out and say something that makes them feel quite embarrassed or even vulnerable. And I feel like you have your pride, and you might, turn it into a joke, or you might jokingly try to break the ice with them, but they misinterpret it, and then they feel like you're taking a shot at them. And so there's a lot of, opportunities here for misunderstandings as well. Okay. Never, never, ever respond to a message, an email, a text message, a phone call when we're upset. Okay. And if somebody ever reveals to us, an emotion, okay, let's just say, I'm feeling very sad today. And this is not somebody that does that on a regular basis. So all of a sudden, if they're saying like, I really miss you, or, I wish things weren't like this between us, it's a very deep revelation when it comes to emotions, right? They're making themselves vulnerable. They're expressing how they feel. And if we take a cheap shot at how somebody feels, it can be very wounding. It can be very hurtful. And so I feel like, once again, the energy could be reversed. You might feel like, every time you try to show them affection, or every time you try to, be vulnerable with them and show them how you really feel, they might, take a jab at you. You might feel that way too. So what I'm feeling here is there's a need here, or there will be communication. And however the two of you choose to handle this, I feel like it's still like an ongoing challenge. But keep in mind, it's not really a conflict that you're dealing with another person. Whenever there's conflict, I feel like it has a lot more to do with the self, okay? The way we express ourselves, the way in which we can forgive others, the way in which we can release or hold on to resentment, and the ways in which we kind of let our ego overpower everything else, pretty much. And so, once again, Leos, please don't get offended. This reading, it goes vice versa. But I feel like you're dealing with someone who's also very stubborn. And I feel that they really value their intelligence. And I'm sensing that if you disagree with their plans, or if you poke holes in their theories, or if you undermine the things that they think, or the things that they say, or ideas that they have, they might take it as an attack on their intelligence. And then likewise, if they disagree with your ideas and your plans, you might take it as an attack on you as a person. And so I feel like there's a lot of growth that needs to be had when it comes to, mending this relationship. So like growth when it comes to personal awareness, self-awareness, being aware of the other person, being aware of their needs, being able to, really approach each other without the facade of the ego. Okay. I hope this reading is helpful. Let me see if we can pull out, like, let's do one more card. What is your spiritual advice here for Leos for the month of February? Advice here for Leos, please. Just need one card. Okay, so we have here the King of Wands, King of Acorns. This is you in your power. This is very raw energy. It's very triumphant, and it's like daring. It's bold, and I don't feel like it can be conquered, okay? So I have here optimism and innovation, okay? So in terms of like serving as a spiritual advice for you, let's look at the qualities, the traditional qualities of the King of Wands. The King of Wands is somebody that he's a king, so of course he rules over other people. He waits for people to come to him, and people pay tributes to the king. The king doesn't go out and mingle with the peasants and things like that. Okay, so I mean, it doesn't mean that he can't. It just means that he's in his power. He owns his throne, and the people are going to come and pay tribute to him. Okay, what I feel they're saying here is I do feel this is a very heated debate or discussion or argument or whatever it is that you're dealing with the other person. And I feel like as much as you might want to communicate, it is best for you to wait for the other person to come to you. Okay, for them to collect their thoughts together, for them to show or even come up with a game plan, or even lay out some type of a strategy as to how to break the ice with you. I feel like in this situation, it would be best for them to come to that state of being ready, and then coming to you. Okay, so don't go out chasing after this person. Okay, and then I also feel it says here optimism, and what it's really telling me is a lot of fire signs in general. Fire signs, we get mad very quickly, but we get over things very quickly. When we're mad, we can be very explosive. Okay, it's